Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you here from our studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you our first impression session of our PSI Presents Spotlight of the Day. And today we had the pleasure of showing off Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama. But first off, who are we? I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
And we are Twist Gaming. Thank you all for joining us today. So, Josh, what is Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama?
It's a... What's the best way to explain it? We're drawing on a little map to connect lines to sanctuaries. So
yeah,
here,
let me show it
show
off
off
there.
board.
So there's this little map. Everyone's map is the same.
Yeah.
So you've got caterpillars, you've got flowers, you've got sanctuaries, you've got flower spirits, and you've got caterpillar spirits, and you've got flower spirits.
Yep.
So what's basically happening is you're trying to connect as many of these resources, which are caterpillars or flowers, to a given sanctuary at any time, a la this. And the way you figure that out is there's a deck of cards with the numbers 1 through 6 randomly on there. So those numbers represent what shape you are allowed to draw at that stage. So you're trying to connect as many resources as possible to the sanctuaries.
Yep.
Caveat is your score always has to beat your score from your previous round. And if it does not, then it is 0. And at the end of the game, zeros are -5 points.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of management there of how fast you can ramp up and how long of a chain you can connect in the grand scheme of things. That's about it.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of the computer game Pipe Dream. Because you get random pieces that are the shape and you have to put them in a board, and it is like a leaky faucet and there's a hole you have to get it to.
Gotcha.
And you have to connect the two spaces. So it's kind of like that, but with like multiple spaces and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's like kind of inspiration where I can see this came from. Is that kind of game.
Josh, you won.
I did win.
Technically,
because we tied.
and
I had the tiebreaker.
So, Josh, you won, so you get to go first and talk about your favorite aspects of the game.
So, as I said, I actually like Pipe Dream. It's one of my more favorite games when I was a little kid. I used to play it all the time. And I like the logic aspect of kind of planning things out. And I like you can skip your turn to draw something to check the next card. And you could kind of start prepping next rounds when you're like, oh, I can't do anything more this round, or
if you
these are really bad pieces.
If you scored really high one round and you know you're not going to be able to up your score for the next round, you could use that as an opportunity to plan ahead for the next round.
But like
the final round after
that. Cool thing would be like your goal would be like literally to connect every single one into like one continuous line, and that way your score would technically pretty much always increase.
That would be ideal.
But I did have the issue where I kind of dead-ended myself in 2 spots, and I forgot I'm not going to get any more additional points for that, and I got screwed.
It happens.
But it was a big deal. I also like there's a deck of cards which you don't have to use in your first game that give you like an additional rule for that game.
Right.
And
So there are overarching cards for that. So the one that we got was the Twisting Road. So all 3s can be 4s, and all 4s can be 3s. So they become interchangeable.
Yeah.
So it gives you more options if you get the 3 or 4.
And there's like 15 different cards.
Right. And
so there's a variety of different things that you can do.
So one of them, and they're all very different. So one of them here is Guardian's Blessing. All zeros are +1 point at the end of the game instead of -5. And then there's Exalted Allies. If you link the 2 spirits at the end of the 2 guardians at the end of the game, you get a bonus 6 points.
Yeah.
So all very different, but all interesting in their own right there.
So I enjoy that aspect. I enjoy connecting everything and that logic kind of puzzle to it. Yeah, that's pretty much.
So from my take of it here, I love the fact that it's kind of infinitely expandable. So however many copies of this game you have, you can play that many people. It doesn't matter how many people are playing because it's all simultaneous.
Yeah.
And everyone's board is exactly the same. It's just you trying to manage the cards that are getting flipped over, and then highest score wins. You could even play solo mode where you're even trying to beat your own score.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool.
So game sports 1 to 8, but you could get 10 copies and go up to 80 people technically. Like there's nothing stopping you.
Or you can play 80 solitaire variants at the same time.
Yeah, if you don't want to count scores against each other.
I mean, any of that works. So I thought that was a really neat aspect just because there's not a lot of games that are infinitely expandable. So that's a big thumbs up in my book there.
Yeah, and it doesn't increase playtime at all.
And I love the fact that this game is super duper simple to pick up.
Yeah.
Extremely simple to pick up, but it's also very, very strategic. Where it takes a lot of planning to look forward and plan where you're putting pieces. Because obviously, that's not what I had in my head when I first started.
No.
And throughout the game, the first couple rounds, if you watch our spotlight, I have lines here, a line there, this line over here, and it's just all over the place. And it's just a matter of managing to connect things when the opportunity arises. And then, do I want to risk connecting this now because it might not be the best movement later on in the game? So I really enjoyed that.
I think there was a spot where we got like 4 straight lines in a row. And
We
we're
did
like,
4 vertical lines in a row.
what are we going to do with these all? But no, and the other thing I like is the boards are 2-sided. So on the back side, you'll see there's numbers 1 through 10. And you see the guardians are missing from the corner. You roll a die at the beginning of the turn, and the guardians change spots through the game to make it a little bit more dynamic of the game.
Right.
And then there's also some of these mission cards. I forgot the correct name for these.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that are just you have to use the alternate side for it, and they add some additional thing, and I don't know where we put the cards are in the box mat.
Oh yeah, the pink ones here.
Yeah.
So then this
a
one
little bit
here,
more complicated.
They're a little more complicated. Yeah. So this one's Moonlight. At the beginning of the game, roll the placement die, and each player draws a crescent moon in the corresponding space. Re-roll if the space is not empty. The surrounding spaces are considered to have double the amount of caterpillars for all scoring purposes. So it doubles the caterpillars in all the surrounding spaces to that. That's actually really interesting.
So a couple of kind of alternate things that bring it up.
Okay, so constructive criticisms, Josh. Is there anything about this game that you have a criticism about?
The biggest thing was, since it's dry erase, I kind of was erasing my own lines and scores a little bit. I kind of wish they used wet erase.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just to make it a little less. But it's not a big issue. And I'm
Accidental
sure
erasing.
you could probably get a wet erase marker and use it too.
Yeah, I could see that being a criticism. I'm kind of torn as to if I would have liked to have seen every one of these cards be different, so it was more like bingo style, versus every card being the same. You know what I mean?
The 6 cards?
The 8 cards or whatever. It's 8 cards, right?
What do you mean 8 cards?
There's 8 of these boards, right?
Oh. If
Every one of them was slightly different from each other versus everyone being the same. So, because it's interesting, the game started out with Josh and I doing almost the exact same thing.
I could.
I don't know if I want that, though, because I like the fact that they're all the same also because it gives you that head-to-head mechanism.
Yeah, I think that since we didn't hit this one, but it would be different.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't have any other any criticisms. This game does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
It's a super quick, easy to pick up strategy game that's infinitely scalable and hits their theme that they're going for, which is the Kodama theme.
Yep.
So, most important question of the evening then, unless you've got any more criticisms.
No.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Would you play this game again?
Yeah. No, this is definitely fun. I might even pull this out solitaire and just kind of run through it since it's quick, simple, and there's not much to it. This is actually for board games going to apps kind of thing. I would love to see this as a.
Oh yeah.
This would be a nice little fun.
This would be a really fun app for a phone, an Android app or.
I would play the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, big shout out from me as well. This game fired on all cylinders for me. For being a quick game, it's very, very enjoyable. Yes. So any other comments?
No, that's it.
Perfect. So thank you all for joining us this evening. This was our first impression session of Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama by Indie Boards and Cards from our PSI Presents section. And I hope to see you guys all again for our upcoming streams. But for now, I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.